where every whisper could be your last. Welcome to Hidden Killers with Tony Brueski.
We're diving into one of the most spectacular financial downfalls in recent memory. Sean Diddy Combs, hip-hop mogul, fashion tycoon, and once a billionaire, is watching his empire disintegrate. Just months ago, Diddy was flying high, jetting between his Miami mansion and Beverly Hills estate, a symbol of everything excessive about success in entertainment. But now, with mounting lawsuits and criminal charges, the luxury lifestyle that defined him is being sold off piece by piece, mansion by mansion, jet by jet. The collapse began in September when federal authorities arrested Diddy on sex trafficking and racketeering charges, throwing his empire into freefall. As news of his arrest spread, it became clear this wasn't just a PR nightmare. This was financial devastation. Within hours, his multi-million-dollar Miami home was raided. Days later, federal agents stormed his Los Angeles mansion. The picture painted wasn't just of a man in legal peril, but one financially cornered, desperately trying to maintain the illusion of control. He offered the Miami mansion, valued at over $30 million, as collateral for his $50 million bail. It wasn't enough. The judge wasn't buying it, literally or figuratively. The proposal was rejected, and Diddy found himself behind bars, his opulent estate reduced to nothing more than a bargaining chip that failed to secure his freedom. Then came the fire sale. The first to go, his Gulfstream G550 private jet. Once a symbol of limitless wealth, it hit the market for a discounted $25 million, a fraction of its original $60 million price tag. But even at a steep markdown, selling it proved necessary. Legal fees were piling up, and Diddy's financial empire was cracking at its foundation. And that was just the beginning. Diddy's Beverly Hills mansion, all 17,000 square feet of it, was next on the chopping block. It hit the market for $60 million. There's the same price tag that once would have been considered pocket change for him. His art collection, a dazzling array that included a $21 million Kerry James Marshall painting and pieces from Warhol and Basquiat, is rumored to be heading to auction soon, each sale marking the slow dismantling of his carefully crafted image. Meanwhile, Sean John, the fashion label that once brought in $400 million annually and helped define urban luxury, is no longer welcome at Macy's. The retail giant severed ties, leaving shelves empty and sending a clear message. The Diddy brand is now toxic. But it didn't stop with Sean John. His once lucrative partnership with Ciroc Vodka also came to an unceremonious end after a bitter legal dispute. The termination of this deal, a deal that had reportedly brought him close to $1 billion over 15 years, was another devastating blow. As lawsuits piled up, even his lesser-known ventures in cannabis and alkaline water began to fold, with investors pulling out and businesses unraveling under the weight of scandal. What's left of Diddy's empire? Streaming royalties, for now. Strangely, his music streams surged by 36% after his arrest, fueled by public curiosity and a macabre fascination with his downfall. But industry experts warn that this bump is temporary. Fans might click play today, but soon enough, radio stations will stop spinning his tracks, and the surge will fade into oblivion, just like R. Kelly's. It's a strange irony. Even as his fortune collapses, Diddy's master recordings may still provide a lifeline. Despite giving back the publishing rights to bad boy artists in what was hailed as a magnanimous gesture, insiders suggest it was a calculated move to shield himself from backlash. The masters, which he still controls, could generate royalties for years to come, if they're not sold off first to cover his ballooning legal debts. As civil suits multiply and legal fees climb, the question now isn't just whether Diddy will survive financially, it's whether there will be anything left of his empire by the time he faces trial in May 2025. With over 100 lawsuits looming, each alleging everything from sexual assault to trafficking, the costs are spiraling out of control. His lawyers argue for leniency, but the courts aren't budging, and with every rejected plea, his finances bleed out a little more. The May trial will be a defining moment, not just for Diddy, but for the empire he built. The music, the mansions, the fashion lines, everything he ever touched now hangs in the balance, teetering on the edge of collapse. If the court hands down a lengthy sentence, the revenue streams that once made him a billionaire could dry up, leaving only the wreckage of a tarnished legacy. The mansions, the private jet, the yacht, the art collection, they're all part of a last-ditch effort to stave off complete financial ruin. But will it be enough? Or will the empire he built from the ground up crumble into dust? A cautionary tale of what happens when power, wealth, and unchecked ego collide? It wasn't just the mansions and jets slipping through Diddy's fingers. His empire's collapse has triggered a mass exodus of people once loyal to him. The fallout isn't just measured in lost millions, it's counted in abandoned friendships, severed business ties, and displaced employees. For decades, Diddy was the hub of a vast network, managers, lawyers, artists, and business partners, all feeding off the success of a man who could seemingly do no wrong. But now, with the walls closing in, that once solid network is unraveling. Key employees, including senior executives at Combs Enterprises, have quietly resigned since his September arrest. No official statements, no farewell tweets, just ghostly exits, as if they knew they were escaping a sinking ship. His fashion label, Sean John, suffered another blow beyond the Macy's fallout. Longtime staff at the brand are out of work as retail locations shutter, leaving them scrambling for new jobs in an unforgiving market. It's not just employees feeling the heat. Several major investors, once enthusiastic about Diddy's ventures in cannabis and media, are reportedly backing out. Revolt TV, his media platform, faces an uncertain future as board members distance themselves wary of the negative press. Even smaller collaborators, photographers, stylists, publicists, have cut ties, fearful that association with Diddy could stain their own reputations. In the music business, once loyal producers and label partners are refusing to work with him. The question they're all asking is, how long before being connected to Sean Combs becomes career suicide? Behind closed doors, Diddy's legal team is facing its own pressures. With over 100 civil lawsuits piling up, each with its own complexities, even the most elite lawyers are starting to feel the strain. A defense team of this caliber doesn't come cheap, and as Diddy's assets continue to shrink, speculation is growing about whether his high-profile attorneys will stick around if the money runs dry. Legal insiders whisper that some team members have already begun contingency planning, hinting at exits if payments become irregular. And then there's the social collapse. The man who once threw infamous white parties, drawing celebrities from across the globe, now finds himself increasingly isolated. A-list friends who once posed for photos at his mansion have gone silent. Behind the scenes, insiders say the fear of reputational damage has driven many of Diddy's former confidants to quietly cut ties, retreating into the safety of their own personal brands. It's a far cry from the days when Diddy was at the center of hip-hop's social scene. This mass exodus isn't just about optics, it's survival. The music industry is cutthroat and nobody wants to go down with a sinking ship. Associates are making swift calculations, weighing their own future prospects against any loyalty they once felt. For many, the choice is clear. Protect yourself. Because Diddy can't protect anyone anymore, not even himself. What's perhaps most jarring is how fast it's all happening. In just a matter of weeks, Diddy's name has gone from a mark of prestige to a liability. When the people who built their careers alongside you start disappearing, it becomes clear that this collapse is total. It's not just about money, it's about identity. And the man who built himself into a cultural icon is now watching that identity unravel piece by piece. Let's face it, Diddy's financial collapse is the kind of slow-motion train wreck you can't look away from. It's rare to see someone so entrenched in success, with a sprawling empire spanning music, fashion, alcohol, and real estate, go from billionaire to broke almost overnight. What's remarkable here isn't just the scale of his wealth, it's how fast it's vanishing. Mansions on the market, jets dumped at bargain prices, yachts and art collections up next. The man who once redefined what it meant to live extravagantly is now being forced to liquidate that very life to stay afloat. The timing of these sales isn't just about bad PR, it's survival. Imagine the kind of financial drain it takes to keep a legal defense team running for multiple lawsuits, many of which are tied to accusations going back more than 2 decades. This isn't just a public relations nightmare, it's an economic disaster. We're talking legal fees that would make even the wealthiest mogul sweat. And once you get labeled a serious flight risk, good luck convincing a court to let you out on bail, even when you've got a $30 million mansion as your bargaining chip. What fascinates me is the psychological unraveling behind this collapse. Diddy is used to being in control of his career, his public image, and his business empire. That control seems to be slipping through his fingers faster than he can sell off his luxury assets. We've seen this before with other powerful figures. They don't just sell their things, they cling to them, hoping that if they offload enough yachts, mansions, or art, maybe, just maybe, they can hold on to some semblance of the life they once had. But in this case, it's hard not to wonder, does Diddy even see a way out? Or is he just delaying the inevitable? And let's talk about his decision to return publishing rights to the artists he once controlled under Bad Boy Records. Some called it generous. A redemption arc, maybe? But others saw it as cold, calculated preemption. He had to have known these lawsuits were coming, was giving back those rights a way to curry favor, or simply to mitigate future damage to his already crumbling brand. It's a strategic move that makes you wonder how much of what's happening now was part of his contingency plan all along. There's another fascinating contradiction here, the surge in streams of his music. On the one hand, it's the ultimate irony. His downfall is driving more people to listen to his work, adding a few dollars here and there to his accounts. But it's a double-edged sword. When your name becomes synonymous with scandal, no amount of streaming revenue can rehabilitate a reputation. Just ask R. Kelly how that worked out. The question now is whether Diddy can sustain any part of his empire, or if everything he built will eventually crumble under the weight of these allegations. There's still a chance those masters will keep trickling royalties into his accounts, but that depends on whether he can keep them, because with the legal bills piling up, those recordings might be next in line to hit the auction block. In the end, this isn't just about losing money, it's about losing legacy. For a man like Diddy, the yachts and jets were symbols, sure, but the real treasure was always the influence, the prestige, the brand. When those go, they're gone for good. The houses, the private jet, they're just things. But when your reputation becomes a liability, even things won't save you. The May 2025 trial is looming, and with every new headline, the empire slips a little further from his grasp. The real tragedy here, even if he wins in court, what will be left of Sean Diddy Combs when the dust settles? Anyway, thanks for listening. I'm Tony Brueski. If you want to stay up to date on this case and others we cover, be sure to subscribe.
In a world where the darkest secrets lie just beneath the surface,
They said it was an accident, but the evidence says otherwise.
where hidden killers roam unnoticed in the shadows.
I think you would definitely be looking at a blend of toxic, very bad narcissistic personality traits, and they will be vengeful and possibly resort to violence.
Join Tony Brueski as he uncovers the truth behind the most chilling cases.
They said it was an accident, but the evidence clearly says otherwise.
Each episode, we dig deep into the minds of those who commit the unthinkable.
To your point on narcissism, he thinks in his own mind how witty he is.
Yeah.
But he lost that jury. I was done with him in 2 minutes.
From unsolved mysteries to infamous crimes.
Geez, you've just talked about how you've taught yourself how to do everything under the sun. I bet you did a YouTube video, how to best kill somebody with a knife.
Hidden Killers with Tony Brueski takes you where few dare to go.
How does someone with such a dark secret go unnoticed for so long?
With multiple new episodes every single day.
We're not just telling stories, we're seeking justice.
Listen now on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Just search for Hidden Killers with Tony Brueski.